What if everything you thought you knew about sex, desire, and self-worth wasn't quite the whole story? This is The Reveal, a podcast about what happens when we ask better questions about the most intimate parts of being human. I'm Elle, certified sexologist and life coach. And every week I invite therapists, sexual health experts, wellness leaders, and cultural thinkers to help us explore the layered and often overlooked space where sexuality, identity, and emotional truth meet. These are conversations about how we heal, how we connect, and how we find real joy and relief in a world that doesn't always make either easy. Curious? So am I. This is The Reveal. Oh, and just a heads up, sometimes when I forget a word mid-sentence, I jokingly substitute it with the word vagina, even if it doesn't make sense. It's a habit, but honestly, it makes me laugh, and hopefully you too. Content warning. This episode contains discussion of sexual assault. Some listeners may find this content difficult or triggering. Please take care of yourself while listening and know that it's always okay to pause or skip the episode if you need to. Today, we're talking about something tender, powerful, and deeply necessary, what it means to reclaim pleasure after sexual trauma. For many survivors, the idea of feeling good in your own body, of trusting desire again, can feel distant or even impossible. But healing doesn't only mean surviving. It can also mean opening the door to joy, intimacy, and connection in ways that honor your boundaries and your pace. In today's show, we'll talk about how survivors can gently challenge the negative voices that block desire, the importance of creating safe containers for exploration and self-care, and why pleasure, in all its forms, can be an act of radical healing. This is a conversation for anyone who's been touched by trauma, directly or indirectly, and for anyone who believes that pleasure is not a luxury. It's necessary, and it's a human right. So let's begin. Jimanekia Eborn is a sexual assault and trauma expert, trauma media consultant, and comprehensive sex educator. With a master's in health psychology, she has worked in mental health for the past 17 years in sex education and sexual trauma support. Jimanekia is the founder of Tending the Garden, a nonprofit for sexual assault survivors of different marginalized identities. She is also the host of Trauma Queen, a podcast working to normalize conversations about life's most challenging experiences, from sexual assault to mental health and beyond. Jimanekia is the co-founder of Cintima, bringing increased representation to the field of intimacy coordination in the film industry. In 2021, Jimanekia joined Leonora Claire Consulting as a sexual assault and trauma expert for film and television production. Welcome, Jimanekia. How are you? Hello.
I feel great today.
I'm so glad. You look great. And for those of you that can't see, she looks great. And I'm so glad and so honored that you said yes to this because, listenership in the beginning is practically nothing. But I wanted to have you on because I just admire what you do so much, and it's important work. So speaking of which, I wanted to ask you, for listeners that may not know, can you share a little bit about the mission behind Tending the Garden and what it is?
Absolutely. So I think even just talking about the origin story of Tending the Garden,
yeah,
I came up with Tending the Garden the first 10-day silent retreat I went to. And so I had to hold on to it for the first day because there's no reading, there's no writing, there's just in your head, good luck.
Oh my goodness.
So I held on to that for 10 days. The original concept was it was going to be like a 5-day retreat for women of color, where there was going to be 3 focus components around sexuality education, because we never get that enough,
right?
Mental health support, because who doesn't need more of that? And then an area that was just focused around body awareness, because again, most of us aren't aware of our bodies, especially those of us that have vulvas. We're, sexualized and all the things. And we were set to go on this first time. And then our good girlfriend, the pandemic, showed up. So didn't happen. Sweet girl. And we ended up losing $30,000. The retreat center stole our money, refused to give it back to us. We were well within contract. I got a grant that year. I know. It's
good. That's
I got
intense.
I got a
Wow.
grant from American Express, so I gave those survivors their money back. But we also realized quickly that there were so many other people that needed support. And so I started thinking about other people that had been marginalized. Since marginalization is not real, all these concepts were put into these boxes. And so who's also being overlooked in sexual assault cases? Also, I was looking at all of these places looking for support and things when I was raped. And it didn't look like me. It was like thin, straight white women. And I was like, not thin, not straight, not a white woman. So what's happening? And so what it expanded to was now what our pillars look like. Cisgendered men, because they are often not believed and made fun of and harmed. Trans and non-binary folks, the highest level of sexual assault and the highest of murder after the assaults. Women of color, many of those generationally, it's very wild. College age, 18 to 25. And I know that there's support for them, but oftentimes the schools cover up and don't help them in the ways that they needed, and there's no community. And that's often like the college age, that's where a lot of harm happens. And a lot of coercion and all these things they don't have. They're thrown into the world as adults, but I remember being 18, not an adult.
Yeah, not an adult.
No.
No. Nope, certainly not. No.
No. Sex workers, because sure, they agree to things, but we also understand what a no looks like. And a lot of people don't. And then folks with disabilities, because again, they are up there with the highest vulnerability rates. But why? So I wanted to make sure all those exist. And, we've done online things, we have done fundraisers and all things, but I really wanted to make sure there was a community space. And it's been something I've been thinking about. I believe that sexual assault is a community issue. The ways that we support survivors and don't, and the ways that we support perpetrators and shouldn't. And so I wanted it to be online and accessible across the world, as I did support groups for 7 years digital, and I would have folks across the world. They're like, it's 3 a.m., but this is the only support I can have. And that was wild to me.
Yeah.
And so we, as of July, launched an online space.
Yes.
It is slow growing and slow moving. There are 3 options to come into the space. And I think this is also important for folks to know. There's a free space where you will always get like journal quotes, things to talk about, resources by different areas. Those will always be accessible. And then we have a 1995 offering where you also get all of those things. You get to go into all the community spaces, and there's 2 support groups per month. 1995, all of that's inclusive. And then the next one is 29.95, which is all of the above, and also discounts to things outside. You get invited to certain events. But I also want to note what we've also created is once you get past that free area and you really get in it, when you sign up, you get to choose your identities in your communities, and we will place you in your communities. So if you are a sex worker and a woman of color, you have access to sex worker areas and women of color. Because community is so important, but also having someone that looks like you and can share information, that is so helpful. I'm sure you understand with the work that you do.
Yeah.
Like being able to see yourself and go, okay, there's something on the other side.
Oh, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It has to be there.
Yeah, so this is new. We're growing it, my new baby. It is stressful. And I think it's really needed, especially at this time in the world, because our country is kind of in a shamble sitch. And our leader, may have harmed some folks.
Oh, you think?
just like,
yeah.
And a lot of people in the cabinet may have harmed some folks. So it's the story that's being told is we don't matter as survivors. And that's not true. So I want to make sure that there is a space for people to land where you know that you do matter.
God. I just love everything about that. And I think I've known about it since you first started the retreat. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this didn't exist before, really. That I hadn't heard of a place that I could refer people to, that was just for them. Well, thank you for explaining that. And I'm going to have everything that anyone needs to know in the show notes. But I wanted to ask, when we get into the hard stuff, I noticed that many survivors feel shame or confusion when they don't want sex, or even when they do. How do we start to have conversations or normalize this sort of nuanced response to desire?
Yeah. I think it's first to understand where shame and guilt come from. I always say those are the cousins that no one wants to hang out with. Times shame is the things that people put upon us and guilt is how we hold on to it. It's just like the easiest way that I'd like say it. And once we realize, and it's hard to go, all these things that I am digging this hole for myself, these are not my thoughts. Like, this is actually not how I feel. So I like to invite people when I do one-on-one sessions, like I work with survivors, and I like to ask them, is that your thought or is that what someone has told you and you have attached to? And I think being able to even open that conversation of there's just a lot of, socialization and ways of growth that have shaped us, right? Like being put into these homes where people have never taught, safety or communication. It gets passed down. And so we don't know how to talk about it because language is power and power is acknowledgement. And oftentimes when the harm happens, people don't want to acknowledge it. But I think that's how we face on all these things, right? Is to actually have the conversations, do the research, because you can't go around the issue. I have people that are like, oh, well, I just do this and I do this. And I'm like, okay, you do so many things to distract. When you're done distracting, it's still going to be there waiting for you. Like, hey, girl, just waiting on you to just sit down.
Just be with it,
Just be with it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks were not allowed to have feelings, that they took up too much space. I wasn't allowed to have a lot of feelings, right? We were just talking about me moving back into this house to help my mother. Feelings, I feel it. But I think we're not taught how to navigate that. So then we start to feel like a problem. Once you start to feel like a problem, you're going to shut down. And so I think, again, attaching to the idea of this is not mine, so you can detach the things and feelings of others. This is also where I like to talk to folks about, like, what are your values? What are your values versus, like, what did your parents put upon you? Like, what did you learn in church? What did you learn in school? What were you watching on TV? And then write them down, because sometimes we don't even realize the ways that we are harming ourselves because it's just how we've done it. And then sit down and be like, is that how you really feel? Are you actually upset? Like, I'll have my own feelings. I'm like, I should be mad. And then I'm like, I'm actually not mad. I don't
but I'm not mad. I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
with anger too. That's a real hard one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I'm going to finish this. I do think that there isn't enough representation of being allowed to sit in it and have feelings and to question yourself, right? I think all these packages, and I try to be messy on the internet, not like, oh, talk about people, but it's like, here's the rawness of it, because I don't think there's enough rawness for people to go, oh, it's allowed. Like, I'm allowed to be a mess. And that shame, oh, that's not mine. Oh, people don't talk about it. We just swallow it.
Yeah.
It's so unhelpful and harmful.
It is. I can relate to this in the sense in the body image, area of this. Like, fat is bad. That is ugly. Who told you that? Who told you you're not attractive? Do you believe that? Why do you believe it? It's questioning it and then sitting, like you were saying, sitting with the uncomfortability of being uncomfortable and just letting it, because it's a part of you and you need to integrate it and just go, okay, and look at it. And boy, is that the hardest thing one can ever do. But it is so essential, I think.
I agree. And it's information. It's information. Like, it is a sign that your body is telling you something. But if you keep passing it, what are you going to learn about yourself? Like, if this comes up again, how are you going to learn how to navigate it? Are we just going to be stuck again? But you have this opportunity here. Like, I look at our bodies as like huge circuit boards. And like, you trick one thing off, you might happen a little tingle to your left foot. And that's just like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Sit with it. It's information. You have to relearn about yourself, but also you have to unlearn some shit that was never yours to learn about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And decide what you believe too, because it's intrinsically it's they're together, but they're so inextricably linked, your beliefs about everything and your ability to also be able to sit with things that your body also tells you don't believe or that you think is sus. So that's a great answer. I wanted to ask you too about pleasure beyond sex. Like, what are some, talking about the body, and what are some somatic or everyday sensory or non-sexual pleasures that can help survivors to reawaken their desire, or at least get it to a point where they can recognize that there's a little spark back there?
Yeah. I love that. I do in again some of the things that I do with clients, I work with a lot of sex after trauma, and I have them do self dates. And people go, I don't want to do a self date. And I'm like, "Oh, you thought you were just going to go out into dinner? False." Wait. That's so wild. You
Yeah.
thought I was that simple.
Oh no.
And so I think this is my answer, and it kind of goes hand in hand. And I'll start with, we can be grounded by any of our five senses, and we can be triggered by any of our five senses.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
figuring out the things that you enjoy within those five senses is already helpful before you start navigating into arousal, into your body, right? Start with joy. People always go, well, what don't you like? We'll get to that. What do you like? Lead with joy, lead into that with happiness and curiosity, right? So figure out what those things are. One, it's fun to figure it out. Like if you like little candies, figure out what kind you like, something that you can travel with, little small smells and things, figure that out. And then, so if you think about, oftentimes people just like, I want to have sex again. I want you to have sex again. Please fuck away, live your best life. But it's not as simple as I just want to have someone touch me. Sure. But how do you want to be touched? Where do you want to be touched? And they go, wait, what? And I go, exactly. Slow it down. So the first step in the self date is finding something like a food. So it's like dinner. Cook it, because this is a date. Cook it, go out to eat, order in, do whatever you want. I don't care. What's happening is you are slowing down. You're feeding your body. You're giving it attention. So this is how we start to warm it up. This is how we start to get connected. We're being present. So you're doing that. Second, body movement. Okay. We need to physically start releasing some of those nerves, because you're like, I can do this. And I'm like, that's so great. You haven't got to the part yet. And so physically moving, right? So yoga, Pilates, dancing in your kitchen, going for a walk. I don't care. Get on the treadmill, do something, right? Next, cleansing. People go, love it. I take a shower. And I said, stop it. Again, slow it down. I want this to either be the best shower or bath you've ever had, because you are going to be taking attention and slowing down for your body. Get out that bath wash you've been meaning to use, that smell good, those oils, those scrubs. If you're washing your hair, you're like, oh my God, I wanted to try this new conditioner. Do it, right? Intentional. When you get out, what are you moisturizing with? Because we don't have an ashy family. What are we moisturizing with, right? Like slowly. And when you do it, pay attention to where you like the touch. How are you rubbing it on? Are you just like quickly, just like doing it, not paying attention? Are you aware of your body as you're touching it? This is how we start to get the arousal and the body to start pinging. And all of this has started to relax you. Because as survivors, we are often tense and waiting for the next thing. And we're like, ugh, I want to have sex, but vaginismus exists, anxiety exists. Trauma is why we are here. So we're easing you into it, but also relaxing your brain, because as you know, our biggest sex organ is our brain. If you're not thinking about it and you're not present, you're lost. The next step, depending on who I'm working with, is either a pressure test, which is a touch test, or positions. And so if we did touch, I want you to literally go all around your body. Do you like a firm touch? Do you like a soft touch? Do you like it different in different areas? because we're also creating a safety net for ourselves. Is now we can present this to people. This is how I like to be touched. You are controlling the situation. I got you, because autonomy matters. And then positions, sexual assault, you were in a position. And maybe you were like, I can keep doing it. And every time you are on your back, you freeze up and you don't know why. Have you thought about, because that was the position you were harmed in? People go, oh, shit. Okay, so let's figure out positions you do like in ways that maybe we can upgrade and change it. Okay, you're on your back, straight legged. What if you turn to the left a bit? Oh, you like that. What if you had a pillow there? All of these things, and you still have not touched yourself in a sexual manner, right? There's so many things that can exist before you touch any erogenous zones. Because for me, the big thing is being present in our bodies and in our heads and building trust in safety. We lost it when we were harmed. And I also like to note that I look at safety in two ways, internally and externally. Externally, sure, there's nothing around me. This person feels safe. In my head, if I sneeze, this is going to happen. And then this. And now I've got a whole narrative. And they said something and we're fucked.
Yep. That goes actually to my next question, which is the critical inner voice that can shut it down immediately. I was feeling good. And that I had vaginismus. And so I know that things can happen where it could be a tone of voice. It could be a word. It could be the way someone touches you that is just brushing against you. You have no idea, and it takes you right out. And then the critical voice, for me at least, the critical voice started. And I'm just all, my vagina is just basically now solid. There is no hole,
No inviting.
No,
or shut down.
No. How do we challenge that voice? How do we, in the moment, and be kind to ourselves and yet go, hey, I'm the adult here and I'm going to,
Mm-hmm. Again, I think it's the idea of talking back to the voice. Oftentimes it just keeps talking over us, but what if don't bully me? You're not going to bully me in my own head. Get the fuck out of here. Because then the remembrance is, this is me. Right? And I'll come back to this, but how to quickly do it is, let's do some reality testing. Am I in a safe space? Did they mean to do this? Did they stop? Okay, can I remove myself? Can I take a bathroom break? Bathrooms are safeties, right? It's warm, there's soft things, there's cold water, there's warm water, you can re-regulate, you get to separate. I like bathrooms for anything. Take a bathroom break. But yes, do some reality testing on, are we in a safe space to get out of this space right now? Or are we actually being harmed? What is this voice saying? But talking back to the voice, you should be able to do this. Your body's, you suck right now. Why do I suck? I'm actually not in control right now, and you know that. Take a break, bitch. And then it's just you going back and forth. Eventually your brain will go, fine, I'll come back later. You want to fight back today? Because so many times that voice feels so overpowering because it is connected to other people that have harmed us. It might even be not your voice that you were hearing in this shame situation. Because what did we start this conversation talking about was shame? And those things are not ours. So oftentimes those thoughts are not even yours. Those feelings are not even yours, right? I think that's really helpful. And of course, if you can have a partner that understands and, figuring out what you need in that moment is also helpful, right? When this happens to me, because now I like to turn it into if your brain runs like mine, now it's a research project. So if this happens, okay, so now I know this touched my arm, this happened. This is how my brain responded. How can I fight you back? Here's some of the things you said. Come up with a counter argument. Be like, ooh, I knew you were going to come for me. I was ready for you for this, right? Get sassy back with that voice. Stand up in that power because it's in your head. It's like anxiety. We are overthinking the thing. But vaginismus is very real. So please do not think I'm discounting any of that.
Not at all. Not at all.
But we try to just let it pass. I'm just going to let this moment pass. Are we helping ourselves or are we harming ourselves and just letting the moment pass? It seems easier oftentimes, but again, the moment's going to come back and it's going to be like, shit, I didn't figure out how to deal with it last time.
Yeah. And it's okay if it passes too. You know what I mean? It's okay if it's like, you know what? That was really good work right there. That was really good work. I'm going to just let it go for now and we'll try again later, or, you know? Yeah, absolutely.
But also letting it pass as it needs to, but not just like the feeling of it coming up and you're like, nope, I'm just not going to acknowledge it. I'm just going to not acknowledge it. Just going to look away and close my eyes. I get why you want to do that because it's hard and it's scary. And so that's very real. But you're a fucking badass and there's tools that we can learn and that we can support you with. So badasses need tools in all capacities.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what makes a badass, one of the things, in my opinion, is the ability to use tools and ask for tools and ask for help, you know? Wow. It dawns on me that there would be a pressure on survivors to, not pressure, but distinguish between what feels truly pleasurable and what feels performative. You know, like I think a lot of times when people are faking an orgasm, say, just anyone, it's just to get it over with. Just, I'm going to fake it. I'm going to fake it. I just want to out of the situation right now. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. But
I've done it.
Yeah, I've done it. I think we've all done it. And it's just like, I think in that case, it's a, survival mechanism. Just like, I'm done with this person trying this. It's not working. They're not getting the message. I'm going to fake an orgasm. The pressure to perform is there for people who aren't survivors. I can just imagine what it must be like to have that pressure as a survivor.
Yeah, I think there's also the fight against the stigma of, I mean, should you be enjoying this anyway? Do you deserve to enjoy this? I've had folks that I've worked with and they're like, I mean, I have sex, but I've never had an orgasm, but like, I just kind of get through it. And I'm like, but why? Well, just because, people don't think I should be having sex. And so I want to fight against that. And I'm like, but you're not enjoying it. And sex should be for you. Right. And I think that there is this stigma, especially on us that have vaginas and vulvas, that you're supposed to keep it cute and smile through. And depending on what kind of church you're a part of, you aren't supposed to enjoy it anyway.
That's right. You're supposed to lay there and take it.
Yeah, which sounds awful.
Awful. It sounds violent to me.
And often is.
Yeah.
Often is. And so I always like to invite folks to just really figure out what you do enjoy on your own time. And, masturbation isn't bad. It can be your friend. Let it be a tool. And again, I think it's all information that we share with each other and how we present it and how we connect with other individuals. I think that is some of the most helpful things. But there is this huge shame aspect that I wish did not exist for us. But faking it, let's get back to this. The idea that survivors should not enjoy pleasure, I think that story is not ours, right? The idea of everyone deserves pleasure should be ours. And you have to figure out what it looks like. And I am so sorry because I get these clients, they're like, I feel like I have to work 10 times harder and I'm mad because this shouldn't have happened. And this isn't my fucking fault and I feel behind. And so for those of you that hear this and you're like, bitch, I get it. And I am so sorry that you are in this situation, but you are not behind. There is no behind in this. There is no race. There is always a time to expand. So let's change that. You're not behind. You are just expanding and finding new ways to do it.
Right?
Like I'm always learning new things. Elle, I know there's always some new stuff out. I'm like, what is this? Oh, cool. And I think inviting in that idea of changing the language and always expanding in whatever ways that you need to, not how other people think or, you saw on TV or saw how your friend is doing it. This is to my argument of we need to take healing off of a pedestal. We need to take pleasure off of a pedestal. because your pleasure and your healing, it's not going to look the same.
Yeah. And we need to de-wellness industry eyes all of that. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I see another article somewhere that is telling me how many orgasms I can have by doing this one thing and turning clockwise and then standing on my head, I'm going to lose my mind. You know, it's like, do not tell them how many they can have and how many different ones they can have. Don't do that. That's not right.
No, because then they get into the idea, well, it didn't work for me, so I must be broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's harmful.
Absolutely. Yes, it's awful. Survivors navigating triggers. I would imagine there are, I know for me, sometimes I don't even realize I'm being triggered. And then I'm like, oh my God, I was triggered. Wow. And then I go on a research mission and try and discover why. But for people who might be just starting this journey and getting triggered a lot and don't trust themselves to go out or speak in front of people or without shaming themselves or shutting down completely, how can they navigate the beginning of starting to react to triggers?
Mm-hmm. Giving yourself grace and remembering that like literally everything that is happening to you right now is new. So think of it kind of like preschool. Let it be playful. Be nice about it. Like, this is new territory, right? But also, when you go into preschool, maybe mom and dad taught you some things before you got there, right? You have tools, you have some knowledge of yourself, and utilize that. Because we do get into the head parts, the heady parts of it all. But you are allowed to have a rough day. You're allowed to be in a position and not know that you were going to kick them in the face. Hey, surprise, this happened. And I think it's also, hopefully you can find a partner that understands and you can communicate with. Also, like if we're scared to like talk and do all these things, practice, right? Practice with a friend, practice with someone that you know. I think communication isn't really taught to us anyway on how to handle any of these things, how to share information. We're surely not taught how to say yes and no. And I have like a whole practice around that. It's one of my favorite things is the communication. But giving yourself grace because you're going to learn. And then when you do learn that, go, okay, I'm going to put that in my toolbox. Now I know this information about myself. When you're able to like get out of the situation and go, what happened? Find the through line if you can. Don't pressure yourself. And then you go, okay, so this led to this. What do I need in that moment? If it's a movement thing, an active thing, go back to the original thing I said earlier. We can be grounded by any of our five senses and we can be triggered by any of our five senses. Shitty and good. Because it's like, oh, so anything. Cool. But there's a counterbalance to it. I remember, this is a quick story. I was moving in 2019, and you understand this. I was moving from Echo Park to the Valley, about half an hour distance. And I was moving into my best friend's house, and I was getting in the car, and my phone was ringing. I got a text message and a Venmo request at the same time. I was like, wow, so popular. And it was my mom calling. I was like, we'll get back to her. My manager had texted me at the time. I was like, you're fine. But a Venmo, I said, who's sending me money? It was a Venmo request from the person that raped me. And in the context, and I actually just posted this on social media, so I got to go back and tell this story a little more. But in the note, it was the year he raped me for 25 cents. Yes, warranted, all the feelings, all the thoughts.
Oh my God.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So this was a visual thing that I never thought of was going to be a trigger because who thinks of that?
Who thinks that way?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right? So that's a visual trigger. I said, I have been working on myself. I've been doing things. And we'll get into that, but meditations, all the things. So I knew I had 30 minutes to get, I said, that's about enough time. Get over there. I took myself to Echo Park Lake and I started using all my senses. I took my shoes off so I could ground. I got some elote to eat. I watched the kids playing and all of these things and nothing was working. And I was like, okay, take your ass home. You got to get into a safe space, right? So I invite you to be aware of the things and try them. When you do know that shit feels off, even if you don't know what it is that? This doesn't feel right. Let me get my incense. Hold on. Get some gum. Where's my sour candy is a good shocker if you have like a little boom. Like, what is it? Help identify and then get yourself to a safe space. That is what I want for you if you are feeling triggered. Get yourself to a safe space. I am one of those people that everything becomes a teaching moment. So this is where I created the tool for asking for help. Because again, most of us were never taught how to ask for help. So I thought about who was in my life who's always like, I got you, whatever. And I sent a group text. I was like, here's what happened. This is what happened. Everyone was like, what the fuck? Natural reaction. How can we help you? Each person I texted differently. You are my food person. Like, can you check on me in like an hour or two and see if I ate? And if not, can you send me something? They're like, absolutely. Make sure that like I get outside. I had one friend was like, if you don't answer me in a minute after I call you or text you, I will show up at your house. Like those kind of things. So the way that I fine tune this and the way that I teach it was, who is in your life. Elle, you know who your people are. And I'm just going to speak to you. You know who your people are. Write them down. Write whoever your people are. Write the best way that they show up for you. Maybe you're like, this is my music person. This person knows my humor. This person knows the visuals I like. This person knows what I like to eat. Okay. So if I am your food person, I just always go to food. If I am your food person, what you will have done, you'll be like, hey, reaching out. And you're like, hey, I'm just like making a list of people. And I was wondering if you would be one of my people or my person. Who doesn't want to be asked to be someone's person?
Oh my God. Yes.
You're
it's
like,
an honor.
Wow, what does that mean?
Little old me?
Yeah. What is that? What kind of person?
Wow.
And then it's like, Jimanekia, you're so good at like finding foods that I love. Would you be my person? And also what the upgrade for that is, you can create a Google Doc because you can change it. Little Google Sheets. Look at your Yelp, see what's in your area. Put those restaurants down. Put down at least 2 things you like from each one. Put it on that list. So either they can pick something or you've already given them things you do like, and they can pick anything off that list. So that's already prepared. And then you and I can create a safe word. Create a safe word. What would you like?
Hallerman.
Okay, great. So if you text me Hallerman, I know that you need help right now because we've already had a conversation. I'm your food person. I know you need me to send this to you right now. And Hallerman means we don't even need to talk. I'm going to just go through the list and I'm going to tell you, hey, it's on the way. I did the little bonus. It'll be there in 15 minutes. I'll let you know when it's outside. If you need anything, call me. Right? And you can teach people how to show up for you. And it's not a bad thing. Most of us would love to know how to show up for people. So much easier.
Oh my goodness, yes. Because people don't know what to do in those situations and their mind goes blank. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so utilizing that to long way around it, those kind of things help when we are triggered. Finding the safety, pre getting to the thing is like setting up that community. Because I think, again, it's a community issue. How do we help each other? Figuring out what grounds you and like when shit feels off. I don't know what this is, but let me just use some of these tools because I've already prepared for that.
Yes.
And then go, whoa, that was rough. I'm going to rest. I'm going to take care of myself and that's okay. There's that grace.
God, I found that profoundly moving. I did. I found myself getting a little worked up there. Wow. Well, I wanted to thank you for that. I did want to, before this gets too late, I did want to talk to you about communication and communicating with your partner and how survivors can show up and be able to use phrases or whatever, and how their partners can be supportive in those situations. I was talking, I think a couple of weeks ago, that I had like this fling with this guy, and the first thing he asked me was, is it okay if I touch you here? Is there any place you don't want me to touch you? And that felt really, that immediately made me feel safe, that someone thought about that, So that's my question, I guess, is just how can survivors make intimacy feel safe? And is there anything how can survivor partners make intimacy feel safe? And how can survivors come up with words to describe things.
I love that. I often get clients that come to me and they're like, I hate that I have to do all this work. I hate that I'm always the one that's constantly in therapy, trying to take a fucking class, and people don't have to do it. So if you are a partner to a survivor, or if you know a survivor, fun fact, you do, because we all do,
Chances
right?
are, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you do know a survivor.
Yeah.
And so you know a survivor, either they're your partner, they're in your family, they are your friend, you do. And so take the onus to do some fucking research, because Google is free for all of us. And so finding resources in your area, why not? Just know, because you never know what's going to happen. Finding out what is an option. I will say that a lot of places are losing funding. A lot of places are shutting down and people don't know. Like in Los Angeles, they don't have a sexual assault investigation team anymore. And you don't know that until you need it.
Right.
Too late now, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Finding out what does exist, that's a helpful thing you can do for your partner. Find out if there's any support groups, or the person in your life, find out if there's a support groups, if there's any meetups, if they have very specific identities, right? If they are a Black trans person, maybe they want specific things. Maybe you can find that just as a thing. Or if you just want general information, find out what exists if you are a partner. And also, a lot of survivors do want to talk to you about it, but don't know how to approach you because they don't want to make it weird for you. Because damn it, survivors, stop trying to make everyone feel comfortable. Take up some space. You're allowed to be cared for. So it's me yelling at you real quick. But partners, sit down and be inquisitive. Be sweet and inquisitive. Hey, I know you've shared with me, because I'm sure they've shared it with you, that this happened. How can I show up for you? How would you like to be touched? Do you have language that you like to use around your body? Be curious. Be open so then they can share, and maybe they didn't know how to, right? That's the easiest thing. Conversations outside of the bedroom. Do it somewhere that's neutral, that is peaceful, right? But also feel safe enough for that person to share. Maybe not in the middle of Times Square. Probably not.
Probably not. No,
probably not.
Probably want to do it privately. Someplace that feels good and safe. Yeah. Yeah.
So doing those things are really helpful. What you can also do, and I like to do this in reverse as well, is when we're talking about sex, make it fun. Do a yes, no, maybe list.
The old yes, no, maybe. I love that.
Take it back.
Love it.
We love a yes, no, maybe list. And this is for either person, and it just opens up conversations. And you're like, oh, I didn't know you were into this. I didn't know you were into this. You might find overlaps, or you might find questions like, oh, is that what that meant? I thought that was something else. I am into that. Can we talk more about that? Like there are tools on how you can show up, or you find someone like myself that can help you in those moments. This happened and I responded this way. I thought it was great. She did not. They did not. Can you help me find the blind spots? Can you help me build my own tools? And oftentimes, because you know a survivor, there's often chances you are also a survivor of trauma. So taking that into account, even if you don't consider it, even if you don't think about it, how are we also possibly putting ourselves as partners in compromising positions? Because what did I say? Survivors exist everywhere in all bodies. And often we do end up dating each other because, well, a lot of us are survivors.
Yeah. And it feels familiar. There's
a lot of options.
I was thinking today, and I was thinking all of the tools that survivors have to learn, right? Because they were put in this position. Now they have to learn these things, and they have to learn, if they want to have sex, have to learn how to have sex again and enjoy it. And it sort of dawned on me, what do you think survivors could teach non-survivors about sexual pleasure?
Yeah. Well, I think, one, also, everyone doesn't struggle, right? So we should also note that some people are like, I didn't necessarily struggle after I was raped. I was back to fornicating. And my struggle was in my head, right? And so I think that's also important to note, so people don't think that it only looks one way. And if you're like, I feel fine, I kept fucking, live your best life. If you're like, I did not. Okay, back to the question. I got excited.
No, that's okay. I love it. I love it.
What do I think? Ask me again.
So what do you think that survivors can teach
Yes.
non-survivors about pleasure, sexual pleasure?
I believe that sexual assault survivors can teach non-survivors that pleasure isn't just about penetration, and it's not just about an orgasm, right? If we are constantly chasing this thing, you're probably missing out on some really cool shit. Like pleasure doesn't equal orgasm. Orgasm doesn't equal pleasure all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
All the time. Sometimes.
And sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's okay. And also that pleasure and laughter can go together.
That's a great one. Oh, this is a great question to end on then. That's great. Thank you. I want to thank you so much for doing this. I learned a lot, and I can't wait to dive deep into more of this with you again sometime soon, if you will have me.
Yeah, I love a chit chat. Love a chit chat about trauma things.
How can listeners support Tending the Garden?
Yes, you can go to tendingthegarden.love. It is .love, and find out about us. I'm always like, get in my business. Go look at who's on the board, and you can also donate. We have an options way of donating. You can donate once a month. You can donate a one-time thing. And we have specific things. You can also get merch. We have t-shirts. They're very comfy, very cute. And so, those are for very specific things that we're fundraising for. So just go and get in our business. Come see what we're doing. Look at the community space. I'm also going to put on the fundraising page, which whenever you hear this, it'll be there. Just like if you want to donate for someone to join the community, so we can offer that to people, right? Like, sure, we're like $20 is nothing. For some people, it's a lot. And so, if you want to donate to allow people to find some community spaces, that will also be an option there.
Oh, that's great. That was going to be my question after the show. Okay, well, great. Thank you so much, Jimanekia. Everything will be in the show notes, you guys, and please check it out. And if you're in the Los Angeles area and you're looking for a therapist, can't recommend anyone else highly enough. So let me tell you. All right, my dear. Thank you again. And until next time on The Reveal. Thanks for listening to The Reveal. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it too. And if you'd like to stay connected, head to ellechase.com to join the mailing list for updates, the Substack version of The Reveal, and early access to new episodes. You can also follow The Reveal wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have a moment, leaving a review helps others find the show. Email for the show can be sent to therevealmail@gmail.com. And of course, if you're on the social medias, I'm at the Elle Chase on all platforms. Until next time, stay curious and remember, the most powerful stories are the ones we dare to tell.